you find yourself lost in Irvingland. Last time, Will and the robot were coming back from fishing when they came upon Robbie the Robot. He was a genuine phenomenon for his time because up until his creation, robots in cinema had basically been walking stacks of tin cans. MGM created them for the movie Forbidden Planet, but when filming was done, they realized they had something here. For one thing, he cost over $1 million in today's money to build. Why not farm him out a little? He went on to guest star in I don't know how many shows like this one. He was even in The Addams Family. Plus, many years later, he guest starred in an episode of Wonder Woman. You can check that out in my series Cartertopia. Right now, though, he's out of commission.
Boy, you sure gave me a scare.
Caution, caution, there is danger.
No, there isn't. This machine hasn't been used in years and years.
It is more than a machine. It is a robotoid.
You mean it was a robotoid?
The robot keeps warning him not to touch it, but Will spots a loose wire and puts it back. Nothing happens. They pick up their fish and continue toward home. I have a feeling that's not the end of it because Will forgot to ask one question. What's a robotoid? It's a thing that takes a little time to power up after you fix the loose wire. And it's a thing that can do that. Will tells his dad about it and John says, let's take a look. We'll take our robot along to analyze it.
It is not necessary that I be present. I prefer to remain here.
Or not.
Dad, would you mind if I worked on him?
All right. Provided you do all your regular chores first.
From now on, I'll do everything twice as fast.
And never mind the twice as fast. Just get them right, huh?
Okay.
All right.
I'll have you working good as new in no time.
Will is usually big on listening to his own robot, but our young electronic genius can't resist a challenge like this.
Turn on the Energizer. Well? What's wrong with you today? Your audio unit gone bad? I mean, I have to ask you everything 3 times before you obey.
I compute you well.
Then what's wrong?
This project is extremely dangerous.
Will has just about had it with the robot and his warnings. It's another robot, that's all.
Our robot is a machine which performs as programmed. Our robotoid is a machine which goes beyond programming. It has a free choice. Good, bad, wrong, right, slow, fast, hot, cold, loud.
A robot with free choice? Do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet. That night, the robot takes off on his own and goes to confront the robotoid.
I am not fooled by your silence. You are aware. You have been aware ever since your fusion unit was refined 2 days ago.
Hey, wouldn't you take a little time to assess the situation?
You cannot hide from me like you do others. Do you wish to speak? Very well. Then I will do what I must. I destroy.
No, you talk. Why aren't you using your bug zappers?
Stop!
Should have zapped it. I'm not sure what that was all about. In the second Keeper episode, he had a laser. I don't know why he picked up a club instead of using one of his weapons. Our robot may be losing it. He can't explain why he's doing this. He just keeps saying, I don't like it. But for now, he'll follow orders and return to the ship. He won't try to hit me with that again. Nothing Will does seems to make this thing activate, so he's ready to give up.
I will disconnect fusion wires. The parts in this robotoid will prove of value in the future.
Did you hear something?
No.
He's activating!
Our robot finally came up with an effective threat. I will unplug you. Will puts it through a few paces to make sure everything works, then has it follow him back to the Jupiter 2.
Bad. very bad.
Will and Dr. Smith spend much of the day feeding it information. It's soaking up data faster than they can shovel it in. And it has some unusual abilities. Dr. Smith will demonstrate by borrowing Maureen's watch.
Thank you. Here we have one watch in good running condition.
Come on, Smith. Skip the circus ballyhoo.
Oh, Dr. Smith! Dr. Smith, what an awful thing to do. That was an anniversary gift from Dad.
Not a problem. Give it to the new robot.
The watch is broken. You know what to do.
I hear and obey.
Here you are, Mrs. Robinson. One anniversary present, cleaned, polished, and in perfect working order.
It's no wonder Smith keeps bad-mouthing their robot. This thing is a few generations advanced from him. That night, the robotoid slips off by himself.
It has been many decades since we left the planet. We presumed you to be lost.
Until recently, I was without full power. An Earth Boy has enabled me to function fully again.
So now Earth people are on the planet,
That face is what you get when you can't decide whether you want your mask to look like Elmer Fudd or Goofy. Whatever he's supposed to be, he wants the Earth people for experiments.
I have already taken steps to secure them for you, Master.
Very good. You have acted with foresight and vision, as always.
When the Earthlings have been rendered harmless, I will communicate with you again.
On his way back, he encounters the robot. He says, "You are no longer needed. You're obsolete."
My path is clear. Nothing can stop me.
I am very strong. I can stop you.
I don't think he's interested in wrestling, robot.
You need a small demonstration of my powers.
Definitely not wrestling. Or if it is, you just got pinned. The next day, the group finds him and gets him going again. But there's nothing for him to do, and Smith convinces him that he's useless. The best thing to do would be to leave. So he does.
How did we ever get along without him?
Well, I'm almost ashamed to admit it, but I'm practically a lady of leisure.
And the amazing thing is, you don't even have to ask him. You just look around, and there he is doing it for you.
How's the work on the chariot coming?
Oh, we ought to set a new speed record by the time we're finished. That robotoid just took one glance at those engineering plans and went right to work.
I don't like him.
There's one in every crowd.
I wish he'd leave and never come back.
Well, in a way, Will, that robotoid is your creation. You made him function.
I'm sorry I did.
The robot tried to warn him. Maybe next time he'll pay attention. The robotoid already has them almost totally dependent on it. What happens when you get too dependent on it and it turns on you? I have a feeling we're going to find out.
What are you doing in here?
I thought I would see if everything was all right before retiring for the night.
Are robotoids capable of lying? And why does it have a gun? Those are specifically off limits to it.
I meant no harm. Tomorrow, I intend to clean the weapons and wanted to examine them first. If you object, then I will be glad to leave them alone.
You'd better go.
As you wish.
When Dr. Smith tried to clean the weapons, Will had to put them back together for him. He says, "Stay away from the weapons and stay away from me. I don't like you and I don't trust you."
I've been looking all over for you. Where have you been and what have you been doing?
I've been trying to overload my power cells and burn out my primary memory banks.
But that would be like committing suicide.
That's the idea, but he has too many protections built in and can't do it. But that's not important. He came to warn Will about the robotoid.
What is it?
My enemy is coming.
The robotoid?
Negative. I refer to Dr. Smith.
He's afraid Dr. Smith will change his mind and turn the robot into a sports car. Will says, "You know I'd never let that happen."
Dr. Smith, I want to talk to you about the robotoid.
Precisely why I came after you. You know that he was supposed to give me an electro-massage promptly at 1800 hours, and I haven't been able to find him anywhere.
But Dr. Smith...
We must reprogram him to be more punctual.
Dr.
Now,
Smith...
come along, my boy. I do not want to hear another single derogatory remark about that friendly servant of man. Come along, boy. Come along.
Will is much more polite than I was at 9. I would have kicked him in the shin and demanded he shut up and listen.
How does your work progress?
Everything is almost ready.
It was a truly sad day when Bozo the Clown discovered meth.
A problem could develop, however. The Earth Boy is suspicious of me.
Do not let him interfere with your plans.
If necessary, I will destroy him.
The next morning, Professor Robinson and Major West are comparing notes.
Every weapon in the Jupiter 2 is gone.
Oh, no. You sure?
And Will said the robotoid was in the spaceship last night.
Well, hang on to your hat. We're missing some vital parts for the chariot, too. By some lucky happenstance, you haven't seen our faithful servant and helper, the robotoid, this morning.
Well, he also happens to be missing.
The robot tried to warn you in the very beginning. Later on, Will tried to warn you. But everybody got too used to having stuff done for them. They're realizing that now, but it may be too late. The robotoid has also taken some essential parts of the force field generator.
Well, the damage has been done. The problem is, how do we rectify the error?
Find the alien robot.
That will not be necessary.
They start ordering it to return their equipment. I'm not sure they grasp what's happening here.
I give the orders now.
The robot warned you that robotoids have free choice, and you guys ignored the implications of that. If you wanted to see a good example of free choice gone wrong, look no further than Dr. Smith. That should have given you a hint. It says, now that I've rendered you all harmless and you're so weak and vulnerable to begin with, I'll inform my masters and they'll come get you. He says, I'm just a humble mechanical servant.
You're too modest, my dear friend. There's no doubt about your intellect, none whatsoever. As a man of no small brain power myself...
Cease your senseless chatter.
What do you know? Even an evil robotoid can do a good thing once in a while.
You are all to go into the spaceship at once.
We could rush him.
All right. We'll look for an opening.
Stop.
Will!
I order you to stop.
Don't you harm him.
Now!
That was about as effective as a mosquito hitting a window, but at least Will got away, and we know where he's going.
You were right about that robotoid. Repairing him was the worst thing I've ever done.
You spoil our meeting with a discussion of this subject.
But we've got to talk about it. You don't know what's happened.
It is not my concern. You forget that a robot has no heart. I am only wires and cold metal parts.
Getting him out of that depression won't be so easy. Is there a robot equivalent of Zoloft? He says, the family rejected me, including Dr. Smith. They're not my concern anymore.
I'm your friend. You know that. Help them for me.
You are my friend, Will. What do you wish done?
You've got to deactivate the alien robot.
That is a task more easily suggested than accomplished.
In human speak, that means easier said than done. And I think Will already knew that. That's why he came to you.
Well, you can use your electric de-energizer.
I have not had my power pack recharged in several days. My electro-force beam is extremely low.
How weak is it?
I will demonstrate.
You could get more charge by rubbing your feet on the carpet in the ship, but it'll have to do. We'll just have to figure out a way to get him really close to the robotoid. The robotoid is reporting to Father Dogmas that everything is ready for them to come get the Earthlings.
We shall leave immediately to get them.
I will send out a homing signal, which will lead you to the planet.
That is very good. We will need the homing signal to find you and the planet.
So if they can deactivate the robotoid and that homing signal, those guys will be wandering around out there looking for it for a long, long time. I wonder if they'll take a female with them so somebody has the good sense to stop and ask directions. Then, of course, the next question is where to stop and ask for directions.
So, you have returned, Mr. Robinson.
I didn't want to. I told him what had happened and he forced me to come back.
Forced you?
I owe no loyalty to these Earth people. They are not of my own kind. We are alike. We must work together.
Join the others, Mr. Robinson.
Before they can say too much, Will tells the others don't ask questions. Just watch and hope it works.
I ask only to serve you.
Your proposal is very interesting, but come no closer. I have computed you, and your memory banks do not scan.
we shall be friends.
The robot keeps moving closer and the robotoid keeps issuing warnings.
I can't see a thing.
I don't see our robot.
Do they really not understand the concept of a smoke screen?
He's probably on the ground.
No, he isn't. I see him.
You have destroyed me.
He did it!
I hope Doggy Daddy can find his way back home because he ain't gonna find his way to this place. The family is recognizing that there's more to this robot than what's in his programming. He's their friend, but he has a few things to say to Dr. Smith.
Hi, Dr. Smith. You want to go fishing?
I'd be delighted to accompany you, William, but unfortunately, it's almost time for my daily chore.
Well, couldn't you skip it today?
I made an agreement with the robot. You wouldn't want me to go back on my word, would you?
No, but a week's long enough.
He strikes a hard bargain. Our arrangement is for 2 weeks.
It's not hard to guess what the arrangement is, but let's see it anyway.
But considering how badly I treated our mechanical friend, the penalty for his forgiveness is not so bad.
Hearing Dr. Smith admit something like that is a little strange, but I hear the robot can be very persuasive.
Ah, here he comes now.
Are you ready, Dr. Smith?
At your service, sir.
Proceed.
But of course we can't leave it at that. What's an agreement between friends without a little friendly taunting?
You may apply more effort, Dr. Smith. My skin is not sensitive.
That's what you say.
And do not miss any spots. If it is worth doing, it is worth doing well.
I compute.
Some can take friendly taunting, some can't. Later, an electrical storm is brewing and there's no time to get all the outside stuff buttoned down.
Take a look at this cosmic radiation gauge.
That's wild.
Well, does that mean we're going to have a cosmic storm?
And fast. You better get the kids together.
Here comes Judy now.
And Judy has some disturbing news.
Boy, it's a good thing we had Smith install those arresters last week. I'll go below and check on the kids.
Right.
Thank you.
Arresters, Daddy, aren't those long metal poles with round gizmos on top?
That's right.
But I just saw them this afternoon sitting in a pile under some brush.
Okay, which one of you geniuses decided to trust Dr. Smith with manual labor? Everybody's inside except Penny. John will go look for her, and Dr. Smith will help him. Or else. Maureen is also going to help. She's going to yell right into the howling wind so her voice goes nowhere. See? She's helping. Penny and Debbie have found a weird mirror. Debbie thinks there's somebody in it or under it. Penny's having fun making faces at it.
Penny, where are you?
Oh, over here, Dr. Smith!
It's high time you answered. Come along, dear. There's a cosmic storm brewing. We haven't a moment to lose.
Cosmic storm!
Where did this come from?
I don't know. Come on, Debbie, hurry.
Penny says, I was going to ask my dad about the mirror, but Smith says, don't bother. It's not worth his time.
It's only solid platinum, that's all.
And that's good for what out here? Of course, he's seeing dollar signs. He keeps forgetting there aren't that many places to spend dollars where he currently lives. He still hasn't learned to think in terms of usefulness rather than cash value. The storm hits and there's no time to get back to the ship. They have to hide under the mirror. Either that thing is way more than a mirror, or that lightning bolt set its insides on fire. We'll find out next time. It was fun seeing Robbie, but I was a little disappointed with how easy it was to defeat him. If he had a vulnerable spot there on his back, the episode never established it. I would think it took more than one puny zap to put a robotoid out of commission. I might have found it believable if he had used the smoke screen to go around and around the robotoid, hitting it repeatedly with his zaps until he drained all its power. The robotoid can counter with laser blasts that the robot avoids easily in the smoke. We could have had an awesome battle here. Instead, we get some smoke, one little zoink, and he's done. Not the most satisfying cinematic climax I've ever seen, but this episode wasn't about the robotoid anyway. We saw the beginning of something that will continue throughout the series. The robot will slowly take on more and more human qualities until he truly seems self-aware. Right up to the end, he'll become more and more a member of the crew and less an environmental control robot.
But there's something more, too. Something that doesn't make sense. You're more than a machine.
You're our friend.
We'll keep building on that idea, sometimes to the point of absurdity. It's almost as though he starts taking on qualities that the robotoid had, except, for the evil alien kidnapper part. That alien is still wandering around out there trying to find his robotoid, or an excuse he can give his superiors why he couldn't find the robotoid, just as soon as he figures out which way is home. I'll see you next time you find yourself lost in Irvingland.